Okay, today we're going to do a little painting of a property, and we're going to be doing it with pen and coffee. And I have chosen this property here, which I have found on the various websites that you can get with properties for sale in France. And I have just saved the picture and I'm going to work from this particular picture. So here I have measured out my tonal properties with instant coffee. I have, as you can see, just used egg cups, and in this one is my thinnest one of coffee, and they progressively get more intense as they go along. And I'm also going to use a pen and have some tissue paper just in case of mistakes, and cotton wool buds, which are also often very useful. So try out your coffee here. You can see that I have done that, and I've got the different tonal varieties here. So first of all, you're going to draw your piece of artwork with just a pen. Make sure it is a waterproof pen. If you want to, you can do it with pencil first and then go over it with pen, or you can just leave it in pencil if you want. So you can see here I have done that already, making sure that I'm thinking of the different areas that I'm going to leave light, and making sure there's no pen in that, and the different marks that I can make to show different aspects of the picture. The first thing I'm going to do is to put some tones down, the lightest tones down first. I don't know whether you can see the light tone here of the very diluted coffee that I have, but that's what I'm going to do first. You don't need to be ever so careful with it because you've got your pen drawing to start with, and you can be going over with some of this anyway with darker tones a bit later. But do think about areas that you might actually like not to have any tone in at all. So basically leaving some of the paper white. So I'm just putting in a little bit into the sky just to make it slightly darker where I feel the clouds, the sky is showing, and you can also dab it out with the tissue if it gets too much. I'll just continue doing that and come back to you. And when you've done that, you let it dry. So I have put in some of the lighter tones there, but it might be difficult for you to see them on the camera. Now I'm going to go in and do the next tones and build them up, and I'll show you those after I've done them. Okay, so you can see I've put in a few more tones there, and I'll just continue to do that and build it up so that I've done the lightest one and the next one there, and then I'll just be working in with the third tone that I've mixed here, and you can see that I'm just very lightly dabbing in the tones on top, so you get a build up of one different tone on top of another. If you want to, you can kind of smudge it in or use a cotton wool bud to take out the edge like so it's a little bit softer, the transition. And just think about where the light and the dark bits are in your picture. So there's nothing really difficult about this. You just have to be aware of where the tonal areas are, as I keep saying. So when it gets to some of these bits that are going to be a bit darker, you need to make sure that you're getting them within the lines of where you've drawn to make a crisp edge, but it should be fine. So continue doing that for a while. Obviously, if you let it dry in between, it's much better. Otherwise the tones it'll all seep into one and you won't get the difference of the tones. Okay, so I've now put in my very darkest tones into this picture. Just remember that your darkest tones from the coffee are not going to go as dark as perhaps you might like them. They won't go black, so they're always going to be a coffee colour. So when you start, it's very important to make sure that your light tones are really, really light and not to go too dark too fast, so that you don't lose the ability to put in the darkest bits right at the end. You can also just have some coffee granules and wipe your brush, a damp wet brush, over the coffee granules as well. That will give you the darkest possible lines or tones that you can put into your piece of work. You'll find that the cotton wool buds with a little bit of clean water are really good for taking out an edge where it might have just gone over and you really don't want it to go over if it matters. They can just take out little bits. So it's a very simple exercise this week, but that doesn't mean to say that you have to make it that simple. You can do 1, 2, 3, practice different scenes, have a go at it and get to grips with it, trying not to spend a few hours looking at properties for sale in France.